What a strong start to our third Premier League season has continued with Southend United. We're just 8 points away from our record Premier League points total already, but today we're taking a diversion away from the Premier League because for the first time we've got a major cup quarter final, and we're going to start with that in this one. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 66 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. Look at that table there. We are up with the big boys. No need to move and see the table elsewhere because it's not hidden behind our head anymore. With 16 games gone, we're just 8 points off the top and we're competing with some of the big boys in the league. It looks like relegation is not going to be a worry this year, which means we can focus on cup competitions like this one today against Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're also going to show the Newcastle away game because, well, the next three are pretty big now, aren't they? With Sheffield United and Villa around our position too. So if you're looking forward to that, as well as meeting a fourth new pre-agreed signing for the January transfer window, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Before we go and get into all of that though, let's have a quick look back at what's happened in the last few weeks because we did struggle initially playing against some of the top sides, but the last two games have gone really well. Fulham did us a massive favour, but against Liverpool, all the Teddy Ivanov magic returns. So you were with me for Forest and Norwich, that brilliant comeback in the second half against the Canaries. Not so good against Manchester United. A 4-1 defeat, but Joe Will's got a goal, which is always nice to see. He's starting to find a little bit of form after signing for big money in the summer. Joe Hugill, one of the old school signings, pops up with a goal at home to Spurs. Unfortunately, we were pegged back late in the game, despite a much better effort overall. Against Fulham, though, a big favour from Fabio Carvalho, who's returned to his former club and got sent off early. We weren't starting well either, so great news for us. Takat Zuka, Fernandes and Will scored in that one before a big win at home to Liverpool. We had been rotating the squad a little bit, particularly in striking areas. You can see Fernandes and Will started again, but this time it was Ivanov off the bench who was the hero after Diogo Fernandes had scored the opener. We'd already gone 1-0 down in that game, but that's the first massive win of the season, and I feel like it gives us a real bit of hope moving forward. Today, though, we've got Wolves in the Carabao Cup Quarter Final. Harrison Parker is out, our best centre-half, and despite our success this season, Emir Williams is really struggling alongside him. For the first time, he's playing international football during the breaks as well, and he does seem to be struggling with that additional match load. But Kerr Smith was signed in the summer for a reason, because he's an improvement on what we had as a backup last year. We have got a pretty tricky spell of fixtures coming up the rest of the month. Newcastle away are fourth, Sheffield United and Villa also both just behind us. And now with championship opposition in the FA Cup at home, with a pretty friendly January on paper, I'm kind of hoping we can get to the end of the January window with a real good squad, with 4 new additions coming in, but also in a fairly strong position, and maybe beyond the 40-point mark. Am I being ambitious? We'll find out soon. Before we go and get into the game though, let me show you the fourth new signing. You met Bernberg and Jensen the last episode. Sadler, who you met, has agreed to come in as well. And now, Rick George, another player we looked at in the summer, has become the fourth player to join the club at the start of January. He comes in from Southampton for £4 million. He actually had quite a big injury and ended up on a transfer list because he's out of contract at the end of the year. He's a good player. You can see he's got all the potential at left back. And maybe we should have got him in the summer because with Ishmael being away on international duty, we did suffer a bit there. But I really feel he's going to be a superstar. But we will have to make a big decision on the left. And I'm not sure which one we let go. But he's agreed to join as a fringe player. So we might be able to get away with loaning him out. But let's move forward to the fixtures because today we turn our attentions to the Cup. And depending on whether shocks appear elsewhere, there could be a real bit of intrigue into the semi-final. Salford have got Manchester City tonight. Then if you look at tomorrow's games, it's massive teams. So realistically, if City win as they should, it's going to be City, one of United and Chelsea, one of Newcastle and Liverpool, and then hopefully us rather than Wolves. If we're going to win this one, it's going to be tough work. Let's see if we can get one step closer. We're in 6th place in the Premier League. We're absolutely flying. I'm thrilled with how we're doing. So let's see the team I've gone for today because I've rotated a little bit, but I haven't gone crazy. I think that would be the best way to sum it up. I'm trying to balance it out between, yes, giving people a go as backups, but also I've got to manage match load of a few. I've tried to be rotating in certain areas anyway, giving all the strikers and midfielders a go. And with Ishmael out, with Joe Rowe struggling as the third keeper, we've got a couple of players unavailable too. So the team I've gone for in full is Caljo in goal. I'm sticking with the first choice today. Adeniji and Lejnik are in at fullback with Williams and Smith at centre half. Reece Williams, that is, because Emir, you can see his form has declined and he's really struggling physically as well. I think that's just the catch-up of all the international games, and we need him fresh and firing when Harrison Parker returns next week. In midfield is Yucalano and Sam Amo out wide, with Lucas Daniel in alongside Jimenez in the middle. He's the one I've sort of gambled on to keep legs in there. But of course, we've got Harrison on the bench as well as Martin Cox. And then up front, Teddy Ivanov, the hero off the bench at the weekend, and Joe Hugill, who's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, must go down as candidate now for one of the best signings of the save. To be on nearly 60 goals for the club, nearly 150 appearances, signed for us in the Championship, and has been an absolute superstar. Let's just see if he can deliver again today. We've got a good side. We've got a strong but fairly fatigued bench. And against Wolverhampton Wanderers, it's a real chance to get to a League Cup semi-final and just get a little taste of what it's like to be in the latter stages. Well, Murat Yakin's Wolves side have got some good players in here, and I think we have lost to them already in a league this season, haven't we? Nathan Collins is back. João Gomez is still going. Looking at the bench, any familiar names? Odebear, the old Burnley one, but I think he had a knock. Koleosho drops out as well. They've changed about half the team, so we're in pretty similar nick. Oh, they've got Muric in goal as well. So let's pump the fist, say, keep doing what you're doing. Hopefully, we'll be good enough to get the result here. But ultimately, with the position we're in the league, would it be the worst thing if we went out? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making excuses for myself already. It's another sold-out Steve Tilson Park, as Sam Amo has got a bruised knee. We'll keep an eye on that. Adozie is there if we need him, but I'd like to protect his fitness if we can. Hugill defending from a set piece as Gomez goes back to Williams. I'll do it now because there's no point risking injury on a night like this. We're going out. It's been a shocking start. And Adozie is on for an injury. Not the ideal first 6 minutes. As we've got a throw on the right-hand side with Adeniji approaching the 10-minute mark. Adozie is now on the left-hand side. Reece Williams playing out from the back to Daniel. And to be fair, in Daniel, we're gambling a bit less defensive quality in midfield. We're also having to gamble on our backup centre-half partnership. And this is going to be a real test of how far we've come. Reece Williams switches to Adeniji. Finds Yucalano. Takes on the fullback. There's options in the box. Instead goes back to Adeniji. That's a good ball. Hugill's up and heads over. The cross was just beyond him, really, in truth. And it didn't leave him much chance to get the power on it and direct it on target. Needs one he can really attack that's whipped in. As Alex Valley's got a corner for Wolves to the back post. Well headed by Hugill. Ellertson brings it down with a remarkable touch. Oh, God. Massive deflection. First goal of the season. He's lucky to be awarded that. And I think the Carabao Cup run is unfortunately over. We're going to encourage the lads because do you know what? They've not done much wrong here. That second goal is a huge deflection. And you can see no one's made a big individual mistake. It's an even game. We're not playing poorly. But at least in this situation where there's clarity, those who have got a heavy match load, the Lejniks, the Jimenez, they can have a proper rest in the second half rather than us trying to gamble on getting through. Hugill won't last that long either. As at half-time, we're 2-0 down in a game we've had the better of, albeit we're in stoppage time and we might have a chance to halve that deficit. As Adeniji to Jimenez, we'd have to scrap the plans we just made if we score here. Ivanov finds Yucalano. Down the right he goes. To the byline, both strikers in the middle. That's better for Hugill, and he finishes it well. Peels off the centre half. The right back's in no man's land. And Muric not the best in the air. 10th for the season for Hugill. We've deserved that on the balance of the game, and the difference at the moment is a big deflected goal. Without that, it would be level. So let's get into the second half, see if we can find a way through. And to be fair, at the hour mark, we probably will make those other changes anyway, just to freshen up the team. But we've absolutely dominated. We've performed really well. Maybe I need to get Wills on because he has been the cup specialist this season. In this competition, he's been brilliant. 2 man of the match displays as Adamson breaks down the left for Wolves. Chance to cross, cuts it back. Jimenez does well. Adozie breaks away. Ivanov gets it on the right. Chance to take on his man. Instead, he just holds the ball up. Ukulano's running inside him. Ivanov finds him. Great play from the centre forward. Back to Adozi. Save to Ukulano. He's hit the post. I was already celebrating. Oh, he's missed an open goal. That is scandalous. Jimenez is knackered. Let's make some subs. Jimenez is going to be replaced by Alfie Harrison. We're going to take off Joe Hugill. I know that's controversial, for Joe Wills. We're going to take off Leznik for Baranda. And I think we're going to leave it at 4 for now. It gives us one more change to throw on a Fernandez, to throw on a Takatsuka, whatever's needed. And maybe even a Martin Cox for Daniel, who's not had the best game. Let's keep encouraging because we're playing well. We're definitely on the front foot. As Adeniji puts it in, Alfie Harrison to Wills. He's done it in the Carabao Cup again. Joe Wills is made for this competition. And while his first season in the league has been a little bit of a struggle at times, if he could be a hero and take us to a cup final, you never know, he could be the superstar. As Williams finds Alfie Harrison, wide to Ukulano, Ivanov to Wills, just pipped by Collins. Odebear loses out to Kerr Smith though. He's had a good game, the sub-centre half. Adeniji gets down the right, finds Alfie Harrison. Oh, curls just over the bar. Glance the woodwork on the way. I'm going to take Daniel off for Martin Cox. And we're just going to see if we can nick one. No idea if that was a good decision when it comes to penalties or not. We've got 5 added on and we're on the front foot. Let's think about winning it now. Martin Cox plays a 1-2 with Baranda. The subs combine to find Reece Williams, the centre half. Wolves are clinging on. We're camped in their half. And just like the Norwich game in the last episode, it's been some fight back with a very different team. As Cox finds Wills. Hero again. Can he be the one? Futs back to Adozi. Oh, it's blocked away. Baranda gets there first though. The pressure is on. Cox finds Williams. Wolves cannot keep the ball and they cannot get out of their own half. Kerr Smith slows it down, finds Adeniji. And now Martin Cox the sub. Through ball to Ivanov. He's got to be offside. He puts it in. The hand goes up. VAR will check it. If this is on, we're getting a celebration. Oh, I missed the days you could just celebrate a goal. Disallowed. I was ready to get the tactical changes and everything. I think that's the right decision. It looked a country mile off, to be honest. 2-2, a brilliant fight back, a great performance. But now what can we do as we head towards penalties? We've got Ivanov, Wills, Alfie Harrison, Martin Cox, and who's the best there? I'm going to go for Adozi, I think, above Ukulano and Kerr Smith. Goalkeeper's not the worst taker. Reece Williams, then Adeniji, then Caljo, and Baranda will go last. Through to the penalties we go. To be honest, we deserve to win this, which means we'll probably end up losing it. But I couldn't be much more proud of the performance, and with there not being extra time, it's not a big issue for us. Ivanov, the only good penalty taker, and if that's a sign of things to come, we're in big trouble. The only man who can take a penalty, who's been so reliable from the spot this season, has missed, and now Joel Gomez is going to shoot at Caljo, who saves as well. The best penalty takers are both missing. Muric has his head in his hands, his hard work undone. Now can Joe Wills be the League Cup hero again? No mistake from him. Scores the equaliser and scores the penalty. We're now back in an advantageous position. Can Caljo be a superstar? We gambled on our first choice keeper today. And the post saves it track. Oh, it was not a good penalty. It was very fortunate after a heavy contact with a post to still go in. Alfie Harrison into the corner. Great penalty. 2-1 Southend. It's on penalties so far. But Wolves are 1 behind. And if they score this one, it will all be levelling up again. Caljo went the right way. Almost looked like he was going to save that, but didn't get there. We're practically at sudden death here. Any mistake could be fatal as Martin Cox steps up. Oh, how has that snuck in? I know he looked nervous, but we gambled on him. And it trickled under the keeper, I think you'd say. Odebear, the former Burnley man, steps up for Wolves. Right-footed. Caljo can't get there. It's an emphatic penalty. And now we are at sudden death. 3 apiece after 4 each. Adozi's probably the most experienced player on the pitch. But he's been on since the 6th minute. And my word, has he made that penalty count. Probably the most convincing so far. Low, drilled into the side netting. No chance for Muric. As Caljo, you've got the chance to be a hero. 1 save and we're in the Carabao Cup semi-final. We've never been to the latter stages on one of these before. The FA Trophy was our last final. Jose Marza. Oh, it's straight at him. The power took it in. He should have saved that. Yakalano now up against Muric, opposite end of the experience scale. No mistake from the spot though, great penalty. How long's this one going to go on for? Kaljar waits the next taker, and at least going first if you score, it does put the nerves on the opposition, doesn't it? Heaps pressure on Williams here. Come on, Caljo. The last one was straight at you. You've got to make up for it here. Lewis Williams, the Andreas Caljo, saved by the goalkeeper. Southend United are in a major cup semi-final. We have waited a long, long time for that. We deserved it on the game. I mean, look at those stats. They scored a big deflected goal to make it 2-0. And after that, we were absolutely dominant. Great work, great spirit again. And that should give us even more confidence going into the weekend. Newcastle away in the Premier League will not be easy. And we're going to get one of 3 big boys in the Carabao Cup semi-final. We'll be back for the draw if it's before the weekend. If not, we're off to St James's. Well, Friday morning, we've got the Carabao Cup semi-final draw. And to be fair, we're either getting one of the Manchester clubs or Newcastle, who are facing in a minute. There could be 2 episodes in a row against them. Let's get the speed on ×3 and start the draw. Who are we going to face? I don't know who I'd rather. We're at home first leg. Is that an advantage? We've got Newcastle or the Manchester clubs. Manchester United. Well, they beat us 4-1 a couple of weeks ago and tore us apart, which doesn't bode well. City v Newcastle in the other. Let's be honest, this isn't like some of the runs we've had in some cups this year, particularly some of those in our other saves. If we're going to win this one, my God, we've got to earn it, haven't we? Newcastle away tomorrow, though. We'll be back in a moment for that one. If we win this game, we could be in a real European conversation. Well, it's fitness test time, and thankfully, Sam Ammo's knock was only 1 to 2 days. Don't even know why Lucas Daniel's there, but he's fine. So let's go and get through to the fixtures. We're obviously not playing Newcastle in the Carabao semis. We might have them in the final if we get past United. We're 4 points behind them at the moment, and we're 8th after 16 games, which I think we've got to consider as a massive success. To be 16 clear of the relegation zone, to not be worrying about a point a game for the first time. I mean, we've never got more than 35 points in this division. This is some sort of remarkable start. It's a coming-of-age season for a lot of players. And we've done it with key people out, like Harrison Parker, the last few weeks. So let's go and make some adjustments, because we have got Parker back today. We've got Ishmael available as well. And there's a few people with a heavy match load. So I'm going to make some tough decisions. We'll be back in a minute to run through the team. Well, I think it would be fair to say I'm forced into a couple of fitness gambles here, and I'm taking one on the team side as well. I've gone to stick a centre-half with Kerr Smith. I've brought Harrison Parker back in, but left Emir Williams out. Hopefully a chance for him to reflect on his form and get his fitness up to scratch. So Kerr Smith stays in after playing well. Lejnik's got to be in at left-back because Ishmael is back, but he's not really fit. Veranda's got a heavy match load too. I've got to look after people. Then Jimenez stays in midfield, but Alfie Harrison comes in alongside him. Sam Ammo is fit to start again. The front 2 stays the same. So it's only actually a couple of changes in the end, with Harrison returning in a holding role in place of Lucas Daniel. And then at the back, Harrison Parker returns for Reece Williams, who drops out of the squad. It's a strong team. We've seen what it can do for the most part against Wolves. We know the bench is full of game changers. But how will we get on today? Through to St James's Park we go. For a big game in the Premier League. Maybe the European chase is on. Well, Newcastle able to rotate a little more after the cup time midweek. The likes of Livramento, Gahey, Alex Scott, who we know well from the head coach, and Shelderup dropping out. They've brought in the likes of Sven Botman and Diogo Costa though. Isaac, Gabriel Veron, Jeremy Frimpong, all very good Premier League players, as Jurgen Klopp's Newcastle side are at it again. Let's go and get through to the first half of this one. Newcastle v Southend United. They're in pretty good form, but so are we. Let's see if we make it count. As Parisi goes to Veron from an early throw. Could be another slow start. We seem to be a team, as this one's up to Isaac. God, I was going to say it. It seems to be that we're a team that starts slowly this year. We went 1 down against Liverpool. We went 2 down against Norwich, 2 down against Wolves in the week, and now 1 down here in the first minute. We just haven't got it in us for now. It's a really frustrating time. And after 1 minute, we are behind against Newcastle United. And when we have gone away to the top sides, we have occasionally had difficulty. So maybe this is going to be another one of those. Veron's been forced off injured, so we are seeing Alex Scott, a man we know well from the head coach. But with a quarter of the game gone, we've offered nothing in truth, as it's a long ball forward towards Botman, who gets it back to Costa. Out to Botman again. And he plays into midfield. We get an overrun slightly here. And it is always the risk with a 4-4-2 away from home, but we've not quite got enough depth to make other things work yet. As Diogo Costa plays out to Botman, and Newcastle, very much in the game of keeping possession here. Not what we expected with the Jurgen Klopp side. We thought they'd be a bit more dynamic than this. But they're building up slowly, and I'm sure it'll count for them. This is into midfield for Tonali. Now Isak. Didn't notice Tonali in the lineup. Jota to Isak. Looked offside. The flag does go up. That will help us. 25 minutes gone. We cannot afford to go 2 down. I mean, we don't look like getting back into it. As we saw against Wolves, it only takes a minute. Let's encourage the lads. Let's see if we can get a response. I mean, at least get a shot would be nice. We look a little bit lacking for inspiration for now. Maybe the sub-strikers will do it again. As we approach half-time, we're probably lucky it's only 1. And Newcastle, well, the match momentum describes it there, are absolutely dominating this game. For once, we can have no complaints about the scoreline. And it might get even worse before the break because Alex Scott is breaking down the right. Chance to get the cross in. Cuts it back to Tonali. Harrison wins the ball. Oh, you're not giving a penalty. Look at where the ball went. The ball went the other way. He's clearly got the ball. Oh, I hate the animations for penalties. No penalty. Well done, Andy Madley. VAR, go do one. Trying any excuse to give a penalty against us, but at half-time, it stays 1-0. I'm going to say you've not been good enough because they're telling me to say we've been unlucky. I'm not sure about that. Harrison Parker, go and prove you can make the difference. We'll give you 10 or 15 minutes and then going to bring on fresh legs because Jimenez struggling in the middle. A few players having poor games as well. And we know we've got that quality and depth now up front and in midfield. As Sam Ammo finds Jimenez. Good ball out wide to Hugill. Sam Ammo running off him, as is Ivanov. I don't know if he's onside, but he's through one-on-one. He dinks the keeper beautifully, and the flag stays down. I think we've got the equaliser out of nowhere. What a counter-attack that is. Sam Ammo, Ivanov, and Hugill combine. Jimenez produces a moment of magic, and we start the second half on fire. Our first shot on target leads to the equaliser. And as we get past the hour mark, I think it's going to be time for changes in a moment. We're just going to see out this highlight though. You know my superstition. Newcastle probably score from it anyway as Parisi plays a 1-2. Into Sharda. Good turn. Great goal. Really great goal. I mean, it's so easy from the throw-in, but you can't begrudge the finish. It's quality work. I'm going to take off Kerr Smith, who's not had a good game today, for Emir Williams. I'm going to bring off Ukalano for Takat Zuka. Jimenez will get a rest as well for, I think, Martin Cox. And maybe we'll switch those two over. I could even go Lucas Daniel, but he looks nervous. I'm looking at other options. Ivanov scored, but he's not been great. Could I bring on someone there? I think we're going to leave it at 3. I'm tempted by Baranda at left back as well, but that's not where the Newcastle goals and threat is coming from. So I think we're going to stick with this. 2-1 again. Look, we're talking in context of this season. If you go back to any previous year, we'd be in dreamland to be 2-1 down here after the start to the season we've had. I think we've just got to be a little bit more calm in our progression. We're not going to go and get into Europe this year. But the fact that we're moving up the table, we're moving away from trouble is a really good sign. Hugo will come off for Wills. We're going to bring Adozi on for Sam Ammo, who, to be fair, has struggled with injury this week. And with 15 minutes to go, we're just going to go for it. We'll encourage the lads. We'll give them a bit of a pep talk and hopefully we'll get a response. But we're pushing Newcastle and that's the good thing. We're still conceding a lot of goals compared to our XG, which is a bit of a worry. The fact that teams are expected to score 1 and scoring 2 or more. But we're offering a threat. We've run Newcastle close, and this is a team that's going to be competing for the title. Let's be honest, we're in a far better position than previous years. The lads are happy. They've given it their best shot. Now let's have a look at where that leaves us in the table. In 8th place, we're still doing pretty well, aren't we? I know some of the teams at the bottom are starting to pick up points now, but I'm going to whisper it quietly. I don't think we have to worry about a relegation battle. I think we're going to be just fine. Let's go and get through to the schedule and see when we're going to be back, because the League Cup semi-final may play a bit of a role in that yet. Let's go and have a look at it. So I'm not going to make a promise at this point. We're going to come back for one of two things, because the Carabao Cup semi-final could get very out of hand. We're aware of that. I don't want to end up showing you too much of the season. So we're going to show the second leg unless we get battered in the first leg. If we're in the tie, we'll come back for it. And at Old Trafford, it will probably go wrong anyway. We saw the league game up here, didn't we? But we're going to come back for the second leg unless we're well out of the tie. If not, we'll come back for Wolves and deadline day. But of course, we've got 4 new signings coming in next month. It's an exciting time. There's also a run of fixtures against teams in, 18th, 19th, 16th, 15th, 20th in the Premier League. We're playing 5 of the bottom 6 back-to-back. There's not really an excuse for us to not have a good month in January. And if we go on a run in those games, and we maybe pick up some results against the better teams before it, do I then have to rest people for the Carabao Cup and say, hang on a minute, this is a real opportunity? We'll certainly have to rotate in the FA Cup. We'll try and make some judgments after that. Let me know what you would do if you're in charge here. Do you go and push in the Premier League to go as high as you can? Do you go for the Carabao Cup? Where do you rest people? Because a game every 4 days, our squad can't cope. Let me know what you would do if you enjoyed this one. Please do put a thumbs up on the video. A great effort against Wolves. And to be fair, a pretty good one against Newcastle. We've just not quite got the quality of those big 6 or 7 as of yet. If you want to stay up to date and find out how the season goes though, and whether we are still in a tie after the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, and subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time as we move into the new year with 4 new additions to the squad and some big cup and league games as we look to push on with Southend United. In the meantime, though, we'll be back with a head coach tomorrow. A huge game in that one. Make sure you keep up to date with it. You can see yesterday's in the eye above if you missed it, as well as some of our specials, the Twitch channel and the football podcast too. There's also a link to our partner HelloFresh at the top of the description. If you're in the UK, get 60% off plus free delivery from your first box. Thank you very much for your incredible support as always. I'm looking forward to our new January arrivals. We'll be back in the next episode to meet them properly and get into hopefully some big cup football.